So I nearly made a bit of a freaking blunder today. Basic premise of how the day went was wake up too late to do my cardio before class. So instead of doing my normal, 8, maybe 9-ish o'clock cardio, that turned into 2 o'clock cardio. So not morning cardio, but still a pretty solid amount of time pre-lift. I'd say I'd want at least maybe three-ish at the low end hours between my cardio and my actual lift. Because after I do my 30 minutes, let's say I have a pretty big meal, maybe even 2-ish, plus a nap, plus drink a ton of water, should feel pretty much recovered and ready to actually go hit whatever I'm about to. But whatever. So class, cardio like 3-ish. Oh, a little bit of extra studying, and then accidentally took a nap. So, I got pretty much done with all my stuff at like 7. And I was like, all right, gym closes at 11. I'll go at about 8 or so. So, fall asleep, wake up at 9. And I'm like, holy shit, I gotta freaking go. Right? It's, if you lift for long enough, then eventually, I guess this isn't a guarantee, but I guess just from my experience, I've had moments where I've kind of accidentally slept during the time which I was gonna, go lift. And if you put your lift off late enough, then you could potentially sleep through the whole fucking thing. So I wouldn't actually have been screwed if, let's say I woke up from that nap at like 10:30, because I could just go to another gym that I've got a membership for, which is 24-hour. So I guess it's not necessary to have multiple gym memberships, but for the most part, it's kind of a balancing act of different, I guess let's just say features of different gyms. I've kind of found that the coolest gyms are not usually 24-hour, or sometimes they're further away, and whatever. Some gyms have better leg equipment, and then some don't have any bicep equipment. Like, if your gym hits every notch of everything perfectly for you, badass. But for me, I end up having a couple, and I just sort of splice through them. But yeah, so even if I did sleep through it, and then this gym that I'm about to go to is closed, I just go to another one. So I would go to another one and do freaking arms. What is it? It's already been like 3 minutes. I haven't said shit about arms. So my basic plan, my freaking game plan is going to be triceps first. I'm thinking, I don't really know what I'm thinking. I'll have to see what's open. Perhaps some light, really squeeze, emphasize sets, plus maybe some heavy pushdowns. Maybe try to throw an extra plate or two onto the stack, and then maybe some dips too. However many sets it takes until I feel like they're, adequately fatigued / pumped, and that'll kind of be my cue to say, all right, triceps are done. Then I'm gonna do some buys today. I'll see how they feel. I'm not just gonna jump straight up to the 80s. I'll do more moderate weight. Last thing I want to do is actually retweak it or anything like that. But I'll see how they feel, and then I'll just finish off the forearms. So kind of up to definitely open to new. What I'm really trying to say is I don't have a specific set of exercises and movements and numbers of sets that I'm planning on going in to do. I'll kind of just have to go in there, see how I feel, and then I'll just look around and see what jumps out at me. Like if I am walking around the cables after I finish my little warm up, and I see a specific handle, and I think to myself, all right, that looks about right. I'll grab that for a couple sets of straight bar pushdowns. That's what I'll do. Or maybe I'll do some single arm. It's like whatever. I don't think it's. I think for the beginner, right, what you're really trying to focus on is just getting training experience. So just go into the gym, do a good variety of movements for each muscle group. Build up the skill of actually doing your sets and getting pumped. But for the advanced lifter, somebody who's been doing this for a pretty long time, they kind of just know what's going to feel good, and they can pretty much dictate their workout based on that. So if you have only done like 20 chest days, you're probably not going to have that exact, let's just say, sense to pick out specific movements and make your own, lifts. I think that's where, people who just write out pretty basic workout plans, which you could follow, online, or just like you see somebody post on their workout. I think as a beginner, that's when it's going to be most beneficial for you to just copy what everybody else is doing. But as time progresses and you get smarter and more experienced with all this shit, I think you are going to be better off, being able to cater your split, cater your diet, cater your workouts to your own specific needs. And I mean, that just kind of takes time, You don't have to jump straight to being a 100% knowledgeable freaking baller at the gate. So, fucking same thing with anything. The longer you do it, the better you'll get at it. So, by that logic, if you don't feel incredibly confident about what you're doing in the beginning, who gives a fuck, man? You're doing it. You're better than everybody else sitting at home, fucking not getting a lift. So, I think that's pretty much all I gotta say. I'm gonna find somewhere to park, get warm, and we can flash forward to what I assume is going to be a pretty empty gym, which I'm totally fine with, because honestly, when this gym is packed, it is not, let's just say this, it is not very easy to find open equipment, especially, the cables. Cables are in high demand and low supply. So there's 50 hooligans running about over there. You potentially got some waiting on your hands. But yeah, enough chatting. Let's just fucking get over there. There we go. All right, so I didn't want to start with just regular straight up push downs. So these two kind of long D handles connected together, that's perfect. It's almost a combination of normal bar plus rope. Pretty solid movement. So the only thing I'm really focusing on is, like, sure, I'm going as heavy as I can, but I'm trying to really squeeze and like pull my hands apart at the bottom. But let's just do one or two here and see how it feels. All right, I think one more like that, slightly lighter. Okay. All right. Whew. Oh yeah. I think so I'm about to go do some overhead dumbbell work. I think my triceps have been slacking on the overhead stretch position of a movement, like stuff like this. But I think I've also been slacking on the, lighter controlled reps like these. They already fucking burn. We're only 2 sets in. But let's go to the free weights. I would probably prefer, well, actually not even would probably, I do prefer doing an overhead movement with both arms at once, but they don't have a dedicated machine for that here. And I don't like grabbing like a really heavy dumbbell and going overhead like that with both at once. like it kind of puts a lot of pressure on my lower back. Maybe if I had an actual like shoulder press bench seat, it would feel better. But instead of doing something which I know is probably going to make me feel pretty fucking uncomfortable, right? I'll do the variation, which I prefer. So single arm, 50s overhead, and really try to get into a deep stretch position. That's like the whole point of this movement. So I'm not going to try to just like bounce it around up here. Like I really want it to feel like it's trying to fucking, pull my fucking tricep as tight as it gets. That's kind of the mental cue that I'm thinking about. Okay. Let's do one more like that. And I don't know what I'll do next. Oh, okay. Let's go do some kind of push down again. I like these a lot though. Definitely a new staple for triceps. Okay, so I feel like I'm approaching the end of triceps, but I kind of want to get back to just basic, fixed bar pushdowns. Sometimes I'll do straight bar, but I don't know. Usually I like kind of a bent bar like this. The straight up V handle where this is like 90 degrees. I don't really love that one, but that's just personal preference. So slapped an extra plate onto the stack. I'll just try to burn out here. And honestly, if this is a really good one, and then I also feel like my triceps are fully fatigued, I could just end it here. But I'll see how I feel. Maybe I'll end up doing two. Okay. Let's do one more here and then move on to buys. Okay. All right. Yeah, with that, I think triceps are done. So let's cut to some relatively, well, I don't want to say relatively light. Let's cut to some curls of a comfortable weight. There we go. All right, so after some feeler reps of the 35s, the 45s, the 50s, and now the 60s, I think I'll call it at 60. Like enough weight where it's legit, but I'm not going so heavy that I know I'm like, actually tweaking something. So even though it's not as much weight as I've been throwing around for my starter sets, it'll still be a good set. This just kind of contributes more so to a lighter squeezing controlled set. But let's just hit failure here and see where we go from there. Okay. Oh. Oh. All right. Let's do one more like that. I am going to grab my straps. When I do relatively heavy curls, like pushing 40 and above, I do like adding straps just so I don't have to squeeze the bar so much with my forearms. If I strap in, then I don't have to send so many signals to my forearms to like fucking hold on to this shit. It's pretty much just locked in place. And all I get to focus on is pulling with my bicep. But one more at least. Okay. Let's just call it there with the dumbbells. Let's do some kind of something. Maybe preachers. So again, I'm not trying to wrench my buys right now, especially since I think the right one is in a slightly compromised state. So I'm going to lean towards lighter squeezing movements. So straight bar cable curls, but I'm not going to finish the set because I just physically can't like wrench one more rep up. I'm just going to try to reach a point of like burning fatigueness where, well, yeah, I guess until I can't get the weight up. So for the first couple, at least, when I'm strong and fresh, I'm gonna hold it up top for a minute. Oh, a second. And then as I get more and more fatigued, the reps will probably speed up and then probably lose range of motion until it's just kind of nothing. Which I think is a pretty solid ass way to go about it. It's a hard set. Okay. I think one more set of a dumbbell curl alternation. Is that what I'm thinking of? Dumbbell, whatever. Another kind of dumbbell curl that I like, but I think I'll just call it at 5 for buys. I don't want to go too crazy on them either. Just Yeah, fuck it. Let's go do it. I think this is just going to be the finisher. So the basic idea of this kind of curl is it's not just sitting here, right, like towards the front of my shoulder. I'm kind of going to hang my arms in front of my torso just a little and do curls kind of like across my body in this manner. So it's almost as if like I'm doing kind of a bent over preacher, but instead of doing one arm at a time, I'm kind of standing. So a little bit of a variation. This, I feel like I see Tristan Lee do this a lot. So he knows what he's doing. And really, I get a really good squeeze. You know, I'm not really one to say you can target too many specific parts of your bicep at once. Like if you're doing a curl with a dumbbell or a cable or whatever, or a straight bar, like, you know, you can kind of feel a little bit more burn in specific areas. But for the most part, you're going to hit the whole thing at once. But doing these kind of curls in front of you, especially light as a finisher, I can really feel some, you know, what the fuck is this thing called? I don't know. So with this little extra bit of meat in between your bicep and your tricep, plus the peak, I can feel it a lot when I do these. So I'm gonna grab the 40s and then let's go check the arm pump. I think this is gonna be it. Okay, fuck. Oh my god. Let's go check the pump. All right, so what was that? Only 6 sets for tries, 5 for buys. Tries, that's about right. Buys, I think I did take it slightly easier on, just because I am kind of, this is like the ease in workout, because I took last arm day's bicep section out, because the right one was feeling a little funky, but it felt pretty good today. But let's say you had to take a couple of days off or a couple of lifts off a specific muscle. Just because you think everything's honky-dory doesn't mean you should jump straight into like your heaviest shit ever. I feel like you're kind of asking for trouble. But let's fucking see the pump. I keep forgetting to bring in an arm measure, a measuring tape. Fully pumped, I think we're approaching 20 inches. If we're not there, we're close. 20, I've said this before, 20 inches pumped is badass, but 20 inches cold, that's fucking diabolical. Right now I'm at about 19, maybe a little change on the bottom end, but hey man, if this bulk progresses well, 20 inches cold, could happen. Could freaking happen, we'll have to see. All right, come on. So we've still got forearms and little calves after this, but the main goal of the lift is now done. I certainly feel pumped. Whoa. Yeah, I mean, fuck. Just hanging my fucking arms out in front of my body, yeah. Oh, even straightening them out like this, like my biceps feel so tight. Oh my goodness. No. Oh. Dude, these mofos are most certainly inflated. I mean, I cannot touch my shoulders, not even fucking close. I mean, that's like 2 inches, and I'm really trying my best. When you get to a point where you can't touch your shoulders when your arms are fully pumped, then you're definitely making some progress. Plus, that's kind of a good indicator that you had a good pump. You know, when I'm cold, I can touch my shoulders, and when I'm pumped, I can't. So, tangible changes. You know, when you start to see shit like that, like the first day I did an arm day, and I couldn't touch my shoulder because my fucking bicep was running into my forearm. That's a pretty fucking good motivator, you know? So it's always fun to hit those little fucking milestones. Let's, oh yeah, front lat spread. Yeah, okay. What other arm poses are there? Yeah. I think that is pretty much it, but dude, fucking bulbous. So with your biceps, you do have these little kind of funky striations right up in here, or at least some people do. And when I'm fully pumped, I mean, they pretty much totally go away. It's just so fucking swollen. So I'll say this, if you're concerned, this would be my last little pointer before I go do forearms. If you're concerned with the insertion of your bicep, like if you've got short insertions or long insertions, I mean, for me, I think I have, well, I'm fully pumped too. That kind of makes it look extra cool. But I don't know, I think I have medium insertions. Like there's a little gap of like just tendon in here before my bicep actually hits my arm. I mean, if you want a good fucking example of long bicep insertions, right? I think even just saying that, you know who comes to mind. The fucking Terminator, Arnold. His biceps fucking, they may as well have attached the middle of his forearm. They go so deep. So if you do a little flex and you're concerned that there's a little bit of space in here, over time as your biceps get bigger, you know, I'm not going to say it's going to fill in all the way, and you can't change where it actually inserts. But, you know, when I was a lot smaller, dude, I feel like I had like a 3-inch gap in between like this little end of the bicep and the forearm. So just by kind of beefing up your frame, and this goes for your whole fucking body, any kind of weird, funky imbalance that you might have, or let's say it's even just so small and minuscule that you're probably the only one that notices it. As you get bigger and you fill out, those little imbalances kind of just start to disappear. So don't get too freaked out if your left bicep is ahead of the right one, or if this forearm is slightly bigger than this one. As you get bigger, it'll all even itself out for the most part. So just more motivation to put some more mass on your frame. But let's, well, actually, how about this? Once I get the shirt on, let's do a little bit of a forearm pre-pump check, see what they look like right now, cold. And then we'll have a baseline. We'll have a baseline to compare to in, I don't know, maybe 20 or 15 minutes when I come back. So here we go. Let's take a look at this one. Friggin' out in the world, whatever. Not insanely vascular, and this one a little veinier, but that's what we're looking like. Burn this image into your mind and compare how big they look now to how big they're gonna look after the next like 5 or 6 sets of forearm curls and reverse forearm curls. All right, so instead of supersetting the the back of my forearm and then the front, kind of going back and forth between like these kind of curls and the reverse, I think I'll just sit here and do the whole back of my forearm, all probably 5 or 6 sets till I'm fully pumped, and then do the actual more conventional looking forearm curls. So I made a pretty good point about this in the last arm day video. Sure, you could do some hammer curls and you're getting a little bit of forearm activation, but it's never going to beat direct work. So I think you're going to be way better off just doing a full-on dedicated bicep workout. Curls where you've got your palms, for the most part, facing upwards. And then if you want bigger forearms, train them directly. If you want any muscle to grow, I think direct training is where it's at. That's the whole point of hypertrophy and all this bodybuilding routines. So with the reverse curls, moderate weight, I'm doing the 25s now, but if you've never done it, even do the 10s. These muscles back here, which are like straightening your wrist out like that, they're not that fucking strong. So they don't need to be completely destroyed with a fuck ton of weight. And honestly, if you try to go too heavy, you're probably just going to hurt your wrist. So, just sit here, pop your knee up on something, and then just bust out reps like this. It doesn't require the intensity of like a set of squats, but just by sitting here, burning it out, getting a pump, I've seen some pretty solid development. I used to do forearms every arm day. I feel like now they're pretty much on par, but I am trying to get them a little crazier, so I'm going to throw them into the routine. But I'll just show the one, but I'll sit here for 5 or 6, and then we can move on to some kind of curl, some kind of normal forearm curl. Yeah. Okay. Let's fast forward through the next 5 of those ish, and see what we do next. Even with just the back of my forearms pumped, I mean, they already feel like tight. I mean, you'll know when you've got a full-on forearm pump when it's like you just kind of lose dexterity in your fingers. Like it's hard to move these fuckers around. But like double arm cable curls, well, cable forearm curls, as heavy as you can go. I mean, I say really try to load up as much weight as you can do with a good squeeze. I'll sit here for the next couple of minutes, and then once they're fully pumped, we'll go check it out. Okay. Yeah. Let's fast forward, past the next 4 or 5 of those. All right.
Good lift?
Yeah, of course. Forearms pumped. They feel bigger than they were before.
Good shit.
I think. Let's do a little comparison.
That's the definition of a good pump.
Goddamn right it is. Yeah, I mean, they got some pump going on here. Like just sitting here like this. That's a substantial amount of meat.
Oh, that's crazy. That's so sick.
Yeah. I want to get to like Lee Priest level where he's fucking like totally gnarly. But that's it, man. We're done. Let's roll. All right, so full arm day complete with biceps. That felt pretty freaking good. Plus forearms, no calves. The gym, I just lifted too late. I did mean to do my freaking daily calves, but, lost track of time, unfortunately. I'll just make sure I hit them tomorrow with legs. Calves I don't have, like, really plugged into the routine. But it's really just as often as they're not sore, I think your calves need to be hit. That's kind of my rule of thumb when it comes to calf training. So one thing that I keep meaning to bring up, but just keep forgetting about, is there's like a really big Sam Sulik Facebook account and a pretty big LinkedIn account. That is not me. All those daily posts where they're saying some random shit. The only thing that I'm actually posting is the Instagram, the TikTok with all the goofy ones, and obviously here. Anything that's not that is not me. I don't know what's going on over there. Maybe I need to take action for a fucking impersonating account. But whatever. So, if you're sending heartfelt DMs to the Facebook, I tell you what, I'm not getting them. Don't be fooled. Maybe I'll put that in the description. I'll say some shit like that. Just because I don't you get it. That's just fucking weird. But yeah, back to what actually matters. Yeah, tries felt pretty good. I do love doing that overhead dumbbell. The single arm overhead dumbbell. I don't know why I wasn't doing it for a while. I think I did it once, like maybe a couple of months ago, and I just didn't really like it. So in my mind, that kind of like locked my perception of the movement. Like, oh, I don't really like that. Where, I mean, just from one day of doing it, like what, maybe 2 or so weeks ago, I was like, oh shit, this actually feels pretty good. So if you haven't done, let's say you haven't been barbell squatting, because last time you squatted, it kind of left a bad taste in your mouth. Or maybe you haven't been doing, XYZ, whatever exercise, and you haven't done it for a while, things change. So it might feel, what may have felt kind of weird and funky before may feel good now. Don't limit your gains by limiting your exercise selection. I want to hit everything as hard and intensely and, man, fucking as optimally as I can. So by having a very wide array of movements at my disposal to choose from, that's going to let you do that. You don't want to just sit here and, do your workouts, which are, essentially like just coming in and twiddling your thumbs and not really making any progress. So, plan for now is go home, finish off the rest of a ribeye that I cooked earlier with some mashed potatoes, and then I don't know what else. I do not freaking know what else. So far I'm at 4,000 calories for the day. I got some chocolate milk. Maybe I'll break into that. That could easily be another 1,000 calories, just 4 cups there, and I'll see what else. A lot of red meat protein, steaks, ground beef, as well as a lot of egg whites. That's pretty much what I've been slamming. And then, carbs. Carbs are from a variety of sources. I'd say right now they consist primarily of Ben's instant rice, some like pre-made mashed potato packets, like the sort of family size type deals, sweets, treats, as well as oh yeah, I don't know. I've got a bunch of ramen at the house. I don't know why I haven't been doing it. And whatever. As far as I'm concerned, right, eat what you got to eat to change the scale. Because if you can't do that, you gotta remember the whole point of dieting, the whole point of training, is not to go about it in a certain way. It's to get specific results. So if you're not getting results, then whatever you're doing just clearly is not working. So you could do something unconventional, but hey man, if you're doing a fucking unconventional bicep workout and you've got some fucking baseballs in between your forearm and your shoulder, then guess what? You're getting the fucking results. So who cares how you got them if you got them? But I think that's pretty much all I gotta say, man. I can't think of anything else. Cardio in the morning. Oh yeah, I got a 94 on that econ exam. Honestly, I was hoping for 100. I don't know where I missed points, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good for me, especially. I kind of feel like I'm a little bit of a slacker. Not when it comes to lifting, but anything else, I feel almost gets put on the back burner in a sense. But yeah, I'm gonna go eat my food, get a good ass night's rest, cardio in the morning, and then legs tomorrow. I gotta get hyped up. Not for hamstrings. It is not very difficult for me to have a really good hamstring lift, like to really push hamstring sets to failure. But squats to failure, that requires my full attention. That requires my full attention and 100% effort. Because it's not hard to stand up from like set, no. It's not hard to stand up on rep number 12 and then think to yourself, okay, let's just re-rack it. Oh, let's just re-rack it. This is getting hard. It's not hard to think that. So, honestly, I kind of, with squats, I think I really only want to do them to failure. I feel like I really want to push it like that. The only thing that sucks is when you do squats to failure, you've got to re-rack the weight. Unless you get some spotters to help you up, but I don't like spotters on squats. The squat is a pretty fucking, in the grand scheme of movements, it's pretty fucking dangerous, man. Hundreds upon hundreds of pounds on your back. You're standing out in the open air. The last thing I want is some fucking dude behind me, like, pushing me off balance, trying to help me, and then, like, I pull my something or, like, no. When I squat, I like just me, the rack, and the safeties. And I want the safeties to be just, some deer walking around. No, so I want the safeties to be like 2-3 inches below my normal squat depth. Because when I reach failure on squats, I do not want that to be an abrupt moment. Like, I do not want to fucking have to shoot out in the front of the squat or like dump the weight and slam it. I've done it before. It's no fun. Like, if your safeties are too low, then they're really not doing that much for you. I love finishing a squat, and if I hit failure, just kind of going back down into the lowered position and just kind of sinking down a couple more inches and then having the safety grab it for me. I think that is approaching, the safest way to squat. It's, oh, oof. I mean, kind of related, but also kind of unrelated. I do not understand the lack of safeties on powerlifting squats. Like, you know, those guys, 800 pounds, and you just want to trust, like, 5 dudes standing next to you. I don't know, man. I want the fucking safeties. I want some safeties, man. That's squat injury clips. Do not. They give me the heebie-jeebies. I tell you what. So now I think I've pretty much said my piece. So home, food. Forgot to take my vitamins this morning. Uh, that's it. I brought a big ass load of dirty laundry home, cleaned it, folded it, but now I've just got like 2 bins of laundry that are clean, but I have to put them away. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. In my current circumstances, that feels like a problem for tomorrow, Sam, not for tonight, Sam. So I think that is about freaking it. So a little bit, last fucking thing. If you're getting ready for your leg day tomorrow, let's say you've got legs tomorrow, and let's say you've been squatting. If you haven't been squatting, I say just try squatting. But if you've been squatting for a while, I'm gonna give you a personal challenge to do a set of squats to legitimate failure. Right? Curls to failure, whatever. Hamstring curls to failure, leg extensions to failure. Right? They're hard. But a set of squats to failure, that is a fucking challenge. So, yeah, do with that what you will. But I'm out. I'll freaking see you next time.